All right, let's talk about the best game in terms of awesome starts, in terms of the highest over-under on the week, what we're expecting to be a massive bonanza for fantasy points, the Dallas Cowboys versus the Seattle Seahawks. Oh boy, we've gotten 3 great games with the Seattle Seahawks, and we're going to see if they're going to continue to let Russell Wilson cook. 56-point over-under. Seahawks slated to win by 4.5, giving us roughly Seahawks 30, Cowboys 26. Now, for you DFS grinders out there, we saw last week that fading the chalk was not a good idea. Cowboys-Falcons was definitely the chalkiest play in the week, but the best tournament lineups had a lot of Cowboys and Falcons in them. I think we're going to see a lot more people pivot back. This will be an even chalkier week for the Cowboys and Seahawks. Fortunately, we have a couple other shootouts if you're looking to pivot off of this game, but in terms of redraft, there's no way I'm trying to get guys off my lineup here. You're trying to jam as many Cowboys and Seahawks in as you can, as long as they're a decent play. So Cowboys have been, pretty pathetic against the receiver. The Seahawks have been the worst team at stopping the receiver, giving up the most fantasy points and the third most fantasy points to quarterbacks. They've been decent against the run. They've been decent against the tight end. I think the tight end is more a product of Jamal Adams, whereas the run has been more a product of the Seahawks offense, just putting up so many points that the opposing team has to abandon the run. So what do we expect this to look like? We even had a statement from Mike McCarthy today that he has no intention of trying to drain the clock so Russell Wilson stays off. He just wants to score a lot of points. So let's see it. Let's do it. Got ton of plays in this one. Of course, you're starting Dak. Of course, you're starting Zeke. And I like all of Cooper, Lamb, and Gallup. Now, Gallup, I think a lot of people are worried about right now because he's had 2 stinkers, but he had a pretty miraculous catch in week 2. He should have had a much better day in week 1 with that theatrical performance by Jalen Ramsey getting a flag call that was not a push-off by any means. Gallup is still, I believe, leading this team in air yards, meaning he's getting a lot of downfield shots. Seahawks pass rush isn't that great, so Dak Prescott should have some more time to gear up for some deeper balls in this one. Look for Gallup to have a very good rebound game. He's still a very talented receiver. He's just playing the tougher spot of not being on like those shorter intermediate routes. He's playing the long game, and with the injuries to the Cowboys offensive line, it's been harder for him to get the targets because Dak is having to throw the ball out so quickly. Now, Dalton Schultz is someone that I think a lot of people are going to be clamoring to play this week, but I don't like him at all. First of all, because the Seahawks have been good against the tight end. That's been like their only real good bright spot. Again, a lot of that to do with Jamal Adams. Dalton Schultz had a unsustainable target share last week. He actually had more targets than any of Cooper, Lamb, or Gallup. I don't think that happens again this week. So a lot of people are going to be playing him in DFS. A lot of people are jumping out for him on the waiver wire. I'm not looking at him this week. I think this is a trap. Tony Pollard, you're not playing unless Ezekiel Elliott is hurt. There's no way we're playing either defense in this one, just based on the propensity for this to turn into an absolute blowout. Now, Russell Wilson, number 1 quarterback on the season, already the favored to win the MVP for the first time in his career. Let's hope they keep that up. Playing Russell Wilson every week until they show us otherwise. Chris Carson is a good play again this week as well. And his involvement in the passing game and scoring passing touchdowns in each week so far has definitely helped keep him up, even though his rushing totals have been nowhere near where they were last year because they've been letting Russell Wilson throw the ball. But Chris Carson's receiving work keeps him as a good start this week. Of course, you're starting Lockett. Of course, you're starting Metcalf. Don't need me to convince you otherwise. Not playing Carlos Hyde until we see a more consistent usage here. Moore is interesting. We saw him have a really good play last week where he made Russell Wilson look really good, but not someone I'm going to be jamming into my lineup. And then Greg Olsen giving you a complete goose last week. Hard to trust him again, but going to be other options here, probably on both teams that you don't necessarily expect, but more so on the Seahawks. David Moore, maybe Josh Gordon will finally get some going, but overall, I'm sticking with the studs. You're jamming as many of them into your lineup as you can. Have some faith in Gallup is the biggest thing I'm trying to push out here, but I think the Seahawks win this one. It should be close. It should be a good game. Seahawks, I got them winning 38-35. Lots of fantasy points to be scored in this game.